Welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. And I am your host, Conrad Cushman, and we are here today to review WWE Crown Jewel and all its latest happenings. We're going to have some quick thoughts on Monday Night Raw and Smackdown 1000, and we are also going to have a review for the first ever show on the WWE Network of NXT UK. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode for the Everything Pro Wrestling podcast. I don't want to waste too much time, so let's get right into it and talk about WWE Crown Jewel. Now, we've heard a lot of people give their thoughts and feelings on the Crown Jewel event, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough knowledge of it before I spoke about everything that's going on, and I still really don't have the full picture yet, but it's time for me to speak about this. And I saw some tweets from Donald Trump. I saw the stuff with JBL and Randy Orton saying that we should go to the event. I've also heard from fellow podcasters, the Scala Monster and JD from New York. Make sure you check both those guys out if you like podcasts. And I kind of side with my fellow podcasters in the fact that I don't think we should go over there. It seems like it's not worth the cause of... WWE has done a great job building their image up for the past, 9-10 years. And I feel like they're going to flush everything down the toilet if they go through with this show in Saudi Arabia. I know Donald Trump says that the Prince of Saudi Arabia said he wasn't involved, and there's answers to be coming if you check out his tweets from October 16th. But there's too much writing on this for WWE to take a chance and try to have a relationship still with Saudi Arabia. Like, this is bigger than just pro wrestling, and it's bigger than your company just getting all that money for it. You have to think about your image for the long term, and I hope Vince McMahon is thinking long term at this point. Judging by his booking decisions and everything else, I'm not sure what the mind frame is right now for WWE, but they have been making a lot of money, and they've done a great job with it. I just don't know if this is the kind of money that they want to make. All right, I know my Crown Jewel thoughts aren't the best, but we still don't know everything, and we're going to move on from Crown Jewel, and we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. And if you guys follow me on Twitter or you're in the Everything Pro Wrestling group, I have been dreading watching Monday Night Raw, but I watch it so I can talk about it with everyone in the group and talk with other people in the pro wrestling industry about the product. So it happened in Philadelphia, and you would think that Raw in Philadelphia is going to be really good. They got a bunch of stuff planned. It felt like more of the same old stuff. We had stuff with Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. With the Shield, it's the same stuff, man. Same people. Just get real tired of it. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Decent match. Rollins ended up winning via countout. So to me, that shows that they have big plans for Drew McIntyre and everything they're doing. We had... that match didn't really matter. Cool exchange between Nia Jax and Tamina in their tag match. Other than that, you could have skipped it. Ronda Rousey in the Bella segment. I know a lot of people were geeked for it, but the moment that I saw it, I immediately just thought, man, AJ did this so much better. I thought when AJ Lee delivered her lines to the Bella Twins, it was amazing, top quality stuff. And I felt like they tried to recreate that a little bit here, and Ronda did all right. Cool. I want to see Ronda beat the Bellas, but other than that, once again. We look at Kurt Angle getting put into the World Cup tournament. Pretty cool. And Bobby Roode and Chad Gable were backstage with Kurt Angle. They have to do more segments with Kurt Angle and Chad Gable. They have like the same sense of humor, and I think it's phenomenal. They also get into Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler. Well, Ambrose is showing the dissension with the Shield, and Ziggler ends up getting the super kick. 1, 2, 3, Dolph Ziggler wins. Whatever. They set up a 6-man tag for the main event. It's supposed to be Kurt Angle versus the Authors of Pain. It's not Kurt Angle underneath the mask. It's all a setup. Kurt Angle comes out and winds up beating down Baron Corbin. I think he gave him an Olympic slam later on in the night. Finn Balor Jinder, nobody cared. Bobby Lashley with his new heel persona. Lio Rush is very annoying. So if that's WWE's goal, great. I think people are going to mute their TVs when he's talking, though. Natalia Ruby. Natalia picks up the win. I'm sure they're setting up for a Natalia Ronda Rousey match at some point in the future. We had some stuff with Sasha and Bayley. Whatever. They seem to just forget everything that was happening with that, and I still have no idea what they're doing for Evolution. Oh, and that Battle Royal when it was announced. Oh, just shaking my head, man. I don't know why they did that. They had a segment also with Lita and Trish, and they did the practice thing like Allen Iverson. It was kind of cringeworthy. It didn't work for me. Elias coming out with his guitar, dealing with Apollo Crews. I like that they had Apollo Crews show fire, so that had some promise. And we had the Shield versus Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, the War Dogs, Dogs of War, whatever you want to call them. They had really great chemistry. The matches aren't bad, guys. It's just that it's a constant repeat of the same stuff all over again. And the Shield win, of course, after the zigzag was reversed and Rollins and Ambrose came in, set him up for the powerbomb. Dolph Ziggler used the powerbomb. Strowman basically then beats down on Dolph Ziggler. And I have to give it up. Drew McIntyre ends up hitting his Claymore kick on Braun Strowman. They are building Drew McIntyre up to be a star, and I think he deserves that spot. Drew McIntyre looks like a superstar, and I'm a big fan. So good to see them push him. And that's all I got for Raw. Monday Night Raw is still kind of blah. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling the show, and I really, really would like for them to get away from the 3 hours. I know that the ratings were up after this episode, but I think as soon as stuff is like really good on television again, they're going right back down, in my opinion. But we'll wait and see what happens with that. And now on to SmackDown 1000. All right, so we get to the show that I was looking forward to the most this weekend. It was SmackDown 1000. And you really thought that you were going to get something great. It was in Washington, D.C. in the Capital One Arena. And it was okay. I mean, it started off with a really cool video package showing the first 1,000 episodes. You had stuff with Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, Eddie Guerrero, Eric Bischoff, Billy and Chuck, Boss Man, Big Show, whoever had a great moment on SmackDown. Booker T and Austin fighting in the grocery store. So many great things were on there. So cool. We had R-Truth come out with Carmella, and they had their little dance break with their Truth TV. Well, what wound up happening was all the McMahons came out. They came out to dance. It was kind of a what is this segment. They promoted the Cutting Edge later with Becky Lynch and Charlotte. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles versus the Usos. Good tag match. They showed the dissension between AJ and Daniel. They couldn't get on the same page, and the Usos beat them, as they should, because they're a tag team. Me and Lance Storm were definitely probably the only two people saying that, so I was happy to see the Usos get the victory here. They do a lot of like looking back at all of the stuff throughout the history, showing it. Paige was backstage with all the SmackDown GMs. You had Vicky Guerrero, Teddy Long, and Johnny Ace in the house. Next, they had Evolution, and we had Triple H, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Batista come out. The crowd went nuts for Batista. We got to have Batista on the show more often. Triple H talks about everything, the first 1,000 episode. Flair's talking about he's looking forward to the next 10,000 episodes. It was kind of really weird with Randy Orton talking his crap, and you had a bunch of different things happening on this. And Batista started talking, and it felt like he was rambling a little bit. And I don't know if anything was scripted for him to say, but Batista was going on, cracking jokes and stuff like that. He didn't care whether the fans booed him for part of it or cheered him. And he just basically made a joke about like Ric Flair keeping something in his pants, and they were all laughing at it. So some insider stuff, really cool. And Batista gives credit to Triple H for changing the business, and there's nothing that Triple H hasn't done except beat him. Batista and Triple H kind of go face to face for a second, with Ric Flair getting in between them, trying to calm him down, and they laugh. And Triple H and Batista hug before they all leave. But this looks like they're setting up a big match between Triple H and Batista, and this was probably one of the most exciting things on the show. Now, we get to The Undertaker. He's backstage with the Fog. He's going to make his return to SmackDown later tonight. Rusev and Miz had a very short match. Miz tongue-tied right there. The Miz winds up winning the match with a roll-up on Rusev due to the assistance of Aiden English. Aiden English wound up taking a little bit of a beat down afterwards. So, whatever. We get to the cutting edge, and they're talking about everything that Edge has done. And he's trying to basically be the father figure to Becky Lynch, telling her, you don't want to go this route. And Becky goes super heel and just says, like, I don't want you to hurt your neck. Get out of the ring and don't hurt your neck again walking through the ropes. And the crowd goes crazy for it. Charlotte comes out and basically fights Becky because they had to have a pull-apart brawl before commercial. Our okay segment. I mean, I really want Becky not to be a cowardly heel in this. And I still feel like they're going to position her that way because that's what Vince McMahon loves, is a cowardly heel. We have Rey Mysterio shown backstage. He's meeting up with Jeff Hardy, and they're just, greeting each other and everything else. New Day comes out. We had Jerry Lawler, Booker T at the commentary table. New Day versus The Bar was an all right match, but it all ends when the Big Show music hits, and he comes over to ringside and shows helping up Coffey, and he chokeslams Coffey through the New Day table with the pancakes, and Jerry Lawler and Booker T were at it, and Big Show winds up helping Sheamus and Cesaro pick up the victory by distracting Big E. And we have new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Sheamus and Cesaro, The Bar, are the new champs. After the match, Big Show comes in the ring and celebrates with them. So we have another 3-man team possibly. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Big Show here, but I'm intrigued. I'll wait until next week to figure it out. And how many times has Big Show turned? Someone said maybe this was the 1,000th time he's returned for the 1,000th SmackDown episode. I don't know, but it was kind of crazy. Rey Mysterio and Shinsuke Nakamura had a pretty decent match. They had a few botches in there, but nothing that I would freaking say it was horrible. Really good match. Rey Mysterio winds up picking up the win after the 619. He hits a springboard frog splash on Shinsuke for the 3 count. I wish they treated Nakamura a little bit better, but Rey Mysterio was returning, so cool. After Rey Mysterio wins, The Undertaker's music hits, and he comes out saying he's got 3 words for DX at Crown Jewel, rest in peace. The Undertaker leaves up the ramp, and SmackDown goes off the air. Guys, I don't know about that. Yesterday I said that it was a better show than we're used to getting, but at the same time, I was still expecting a little bit more. I was hoping The Rock would be there. I was hoping we get a little bit of a different stage set after they ruined it last week, but we got the same old stage. Nothing was too much different. I don't know. I just wanted something different from this show, and they did a decent job. It was better than what we usually get, so I'm not mad, but hopefully next time we get something a little bit more fan-friendly, just to feel like it's a new era and there's more great moments to come. All right, we're going to talk about the first NXT UK show on the WWE Network. It was happening in Cambridge, England. On the announce team, we had Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness. Our first match was Mark Andrews versus Joe Coffey with Mark Coffey in his corner. Overall, I gave the match a grade of a C+. Coffey wins with a spinning lariat. Cool match. Andrews is really good. He has a lot of great high-flying moves, and he's someone that I would love to see mix it up in the cruiserweight division. So it'll be interesting to see how he is used. But he loses the match after that spinning lariat, and he's getting jumped by the Coffey brothers. And eventually Flash Morgan Webster comes out and makes the save, and he is using that helmet looking like no one's ever giving him a parking ticket. Very cool to see that. Flash Morgan Webster actually favorited one of my tweets when I said I hope that WWE Games is watching the event and they get a good look at the arena and the talent, because I would like to see these guys in a future game. So thank you, Flash Morgan Webster, for favoriting my tweet. Next up, we get to Mustache Mountain. That's Tyler Bate and Trent Seven. They come out for a promo. The UK fans love them. The crowd is absolutely feeling this event. They are chanting whatever they want, and they come out to talk about the NXT UK tag titles, and they know that that's going to be happening in the future, and they let everyone know that they have their eyes set on them. So Mustache Mountain winning the NXT UK tag titles would be something very cool to see. You have a bunch of potential tag teams like the Coffey brothers and other people teaming up, so I would look forward to see what the tag division is going to be like, and hopefully they could set up something nice in the upcoming months for that. Match number 2, we get to Sid Scala versus Dave Mastiff. And I love the entrance with what they did for it. Now, if you're not an old school fan, you may not get this reference, but when Dave Mastiff came out, he came out like Earthquake kind of. The camera was shaking every time he took a step and he walked, and I thought that was very cool on his entrance. This was a massive showcase. He basically wins the match with a cannonball flip in the corner. He's a 320-pound beast, and this guy picks up the victory very easily, and he's someone I look forward to seeing. Next, we get to Toni Storm versus Nina Samuels. And I'm sorry, I gave that match a C+ as well. The Sid Scala, David Mastiff match. Toni Storm versus Nina Samuels. I'm not familiar with Nina Samuels too much, so I'm not sure of her work outside of here, but she impressed me in this match. She did a very good job. Toni Storm is a delight to watch in the ring. I love her look and the attitude that she gives off while she's wrestling in the ring. She's not just a pretty face. She shows that she's got fight in her as well, and I love that. Toni Storm wins the match with Storm Zero. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like Sheamus's White Noise, but she ends up dropping you on the knee. And perfect, really good match. I gave that a C+ as well. Nothing too crazy in these matches, but a nice showcase to show you like the talent and who they are and who's the top tier people that you're going to want to see on the NXT UK show. And in the main event, we come up with the NXT UK Championship. Pete Dunne defends his title against Noam Dar, who earned a title shot back in June, I believe, when I did that review on YouTube for the NXT UK show on day 2. Now, next week we have a big match lined up. We have Wolfgang versus Tyler Bate. Wolfgang is the forgotten about member of the original NXT UK guys, and I want to see Wolfgang next week, so hopefully he gets to put on a heck of a show with Tyler Bate. Johnny Saint is ringside for the main event. If you don't know, Johnny Saint is a wrestling legend in the UK, and he is also the GM of the brand. This is a hard-hitting match. Dar gives Pete Dunne a release fisherman suplex on the apron. I have never seen that before. That looked crazy dangerous. So, all right. There was a lot of finger snapping in this one by Pete Dunne. Really good match. Lots of very cool transitions, too, from arm bars and the ankle locks and the flips and the rolls and in the heel hooks. I really like it. Very different. Now, the match ends up ending when Pete Dunne hits the bitter end. 1, 2, 3. And Pete Dunne is victorious. And it leaves you wondering, who is going to snatch this title from Pete Dunne's mouth? Because he has been the UK champion for 515 days. And honestly, I don't see anyone who should be taking that title off of him anytime soon. If you guys have any thoughts on who could take the belt off of him or when it should happen, let me know. But as far as I'm concerned, Pete Dunne is who you build that brand around, and he is the man. And this was an excellent show for NXT UK for their first event. Thank you for listening to the Everything Pro Wrestling podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to the show. I know some of you are taking care of your kids, going to school, working on different projects, and to have me on in the background is something I greatly appreciate. So thank you very much for doing that. Also, guys, make sure you are giving us a follow on Twitter, as we have recently hit over 1,000 followers. I know that's not a big deal to some people and it doesn't equal money, but it's very cool that people want to follow me and talk pro wrestling with me. So thank you for that. And we are at EPW Show on Twitter. So give us a follow and talk some pro wrestling. It doesn't have to be WWE. It could be Impact Wrestling, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, whatever it may be. Give us a follow. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are trying to get over 200 subscribers before Survivor Series, and we are at 184, 185, so we're about 15, 16 away. And if we can get over that mark, that would be great. So make sure you guys do your part and help out with that. Thank you for listening to the Everything Pro Wrestling podcast, guys. We'll be back next week with another episode talking some pro wrestling for you. And we are out. Peace.